What is happening, folks? Look, wanted to actually jump on here and talk about something that's not really fitness related, but it'll have the mindset, and it's reading books. In the past year, so I started reading books around about, I'd say May last year, and up until then, I tried to read books in the past. I was banned sort of fictional books. If you don't know the difference, I always get confused between fictional and non-fictional. So I'll fictional means fantasy or made up stories. Non-fictional is like autobiographies and business books and things like that, or history books even. But I was always trying to get into reading, ban like fantasy books, made up books, and it just never worked for me. But my main reason I want to get into reading was entrepreneur books and mindset books and things like that. And all I can say is in the past year, I mean, you can see yourselves the progress I've made. I've put it up on Instagram enough. Don't need to go on about it. But it's not just a physical process, or it's not just a physical transformation that I had, and it's not just a physical transformation that you should want or you should like that you will get. It's a mental transformation, and one great book I don't even have. I've got a couple books here, but I don't even have a the book itself. Because for me personally, because I struggle to read at the minute. Well, I don't struggle to read. I can read, but I'm going a bit off topic here. But basically, I found it hard to focus and concentrate. I still do to an extent. So I used Audible. If you don't know what Audible is, it's audiobooks. You've probably heard of it. But when I would go out for walks, I would stick an audiobook on or a podcast if you prefer podcasts, but just in terms of trying to read books. And then if it's actually one of the reasons I got back into running just because I knew I could run for an hour and get an hour of a book done. And it's a good way to sort of kill two birds with one stone. But yeah, there's a couple books. There's one book I'd like to recommend for all of you, and it would be The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I know a lot of you, there's just everybody in general struggles with anxiety and stuff, especially when it comes into the gym. I know a couple of you are getting to the point now where you feel awkward asking for spotters, and this is like all of you will probably have felt a bit weird when I said that, but it's because you are all dealing with that issue of like asking for a spotter, and it's just something you need to get used to. So, the subtle art of not giving a fuck. Not only will it help you not feel worried about asking for a spotter, but it'll help you so many ways. Um, so yeah, that's a really good book. Didn't mean to drop that. And then if you're, these are a couple sales books, but I'll be honest, most of my book knowledge just came from audiobooks. Another great one is called Atomic Habits by James Clear. But I would really recommend trying to get into reading. But the main reason I wanted to jump on this video today is actually because last night I was at a run and I was listening to a book. It's called Destiny is Discipline, or Discipline is Destiny. It's by a guy called Ryan Holiday. He's a very famous like writer, especially when it comes to like Stoic philosophy. If you don't know what Stoic philosophy is, it's basically a philosophy by like the ancient Greeks and Romans. It's just you've probably heard of Stoicism, but what it is, it's basically acting or doing the work that needs done regardless of how you feel, and being emotionless when and trying to be logical and stuff in most situations. But the book itself, discipline, or sorry, he's a researcher of the Stoic philosophy, and he's wrote books about Stoic philosophy. Have you ever heard of Marcus Aurelius? He was a Roman Empire. He's a very popular Stoic philosopher. He's a very popular Stoic writer from back in the day, obviously. Um, and he references him a lot. But the book Discipline is Destiny, I'm not finished it, but one of the things that he talks about is how the discipline is in the finer details, and it's the small details that you wouldn't think matter that can drastically matter. One example that he used in the book, which I thought was fucking mental, is he's talking about how a I don't know what team it was. I can't remember the name who he said it. I didn't recognize who it was, but it was an NBA coach, like a basketball coach, and he was so strict. He must have been like a really good coach and probably won loads of titles. I haven't actually finished that part, so I don't know who it is. Um, but he talks about how he would have made his players. he taught his players not only how to play basketball, but he made sure every single session to put their socks and shoes on correctly, because it would, like, if you didn't wear your socks correctly, if if you put your sock on and it was maybe wrinkled a certain way, it could lead to a blister, and then that blister could lead to you landing on your foot a certain way, which could then lead to your ankle getting injured or your knee getting fucked up, and then it could lead to you being out for a week or out for a couple months, and then you being out for a couple months could lead to the team being out or like missing out on some wins, and then them wins could be the reason the team misses out on winning the league. So it was just mad, like what he was talking about, how like even the way he was taught, like tie your shoe, like don't just loosen the top sort of part of the laces, loosen the full shoe, and then tie it correctly. And honestly, I don't need to get into how to tie a shoe, but the point was that it wasn't it wasn't so much about the team being disciplined on the court and having all these, like, making sure that they're always doing like the right exercise and things like that. And I'm sure that was part of it, but it was like how all these wee tiny details are really what's going to get you the results rather than one big dramatic piece of work. Like you would think that the hour long training session is the most important thing, where with him it was like everything was just as important, and it was all about doing the basics. And I just thought that was really interesting, wanted to share with you because I want to maybe get in the habit more of passing my knowledge that I'm learning from books and things like that and my experiences on to using, so that you can sort of think about it yourself. But if you haven't started reading, I would recommend getting into it. In the past, for the first 22 and a half year or first 22 years of my life, I read one book, and it was probably like a or like a 7 year old book. Um, didn't read any books when I was in school. Hated reading. And now in the past year, if you include audiobooks, I've probably read about 18 books, maybe around that mark. So don't worry. And Audible, if you have like a O2 contract, Stephen, sorry, I know you're in Australia, you probably won't have a clue what that is, but some phone contracts get Audible for free. You can get like subscriptions. It's part of Amazon as well, so I think you can maybe get a discount that way if you have Amazon Prime. Or what I done is I just went into a charity shop. Most charity shops do books for like £2, as you can see here. So it's a low it's for the amount of value that you're getting from a book for the price of like £2. It's fucking nothing. You gotta remember, like let's say this, like uh, let me see this here book, right? This here book, it's called Getting to Yes. It's like a sales book, which I'm trying to learn sales, grow my business. But um, like this is the author of this. Don't know who it is. Roger Fisher apparently. But all like when you think of a book, they're trying to pass on their knowledge all within 300-400 pages. So everything they've learned in the past decade is all in these sort of books. So you can sort of fast forward your knowledge and things like that. So if there's a topic that you want to learn more about, or there's a thing you struggle with, like if you struggle with anxiety, that book, The Subtle Art, hold on, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Like if you struggle with confidence or anxiety, that's the book for you. If you struggle with keeping staying consistent and getting results, I would recommend the book I said, what do you call it? Atomic Habits by James Clear. If you find yourself really emotional and you're reactive instead of proactive to a lot of situations, a book, I don't have the hard copy because I listened to it, but it's called Chimp Paradox by Professor, I think it's Steve Peters or something like that. But it's all about how the human brain, like he breaks it into three sections. How it's like an animal brain, a human brain, and then the computer brain. Computer is sort of the brain that just fucking flicks into function. It's automatic. You don't even think about it. It's just your subconscious. It just does things. And then he talks about how the animal brain, which is like the chimp brain, and it's the emotional side, and it's like usually you want to not listen to it because it's the first to react, and then obviously the human brain is the one where you're logical and you think about everything. But he talks about how you can program the computer brain, like your subconscious, and then he talks about how you can control the monkey brain with the human brain and vice versa. There's nothing actually said like there's pros to having the chimp like using the chimp brain at certain times and stuff as well, especially when it comes to like fight or flight. But anyway, I'm getting into a book review at this point. I just think you should read some books. Take away from the main takeaway from this here, there was I want to say the results that you want are in the finer details, and but it's doing the basic things correct, like just trust in the process, and regardless whether it's losing weight, gaining weight, whether you want to have a healthier relationship with your partner, whether you want to develop or make new friends, just you becoming a better version of yourself will benefit everywhere and everyone in your life. So have a good one. Rant over. I was probably about 10 minutes there. I doubt any of us are going to watch that, but have a good one.